Everyone, welcome to the pregame show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The Texas Longhorns are traveling to Lexington. Not traveling, they're there to face the Kentucky Wildcats. I saw some Sark walking in through their little corridor. He has that pissed look again. Sark sometimes gets this like real intense look. I don't know what it means, but he seemed like he was pretty serious. So we'll see what that means. You guys need to head over to InsideTexas.com. You can join for just $1 right now. Best team news, recruiting, analysis. You guys know by now. And also, if you scan this QR code, it'll take you straight to the website. Apply the promo. All you got to do is sign up for $1. Gentlemen, I did not watch much college football today because I've been getting a little sick. So I've been lounging around just trying to recover from that. But is there anything that you guys saw that was interesting? I watched a little bit of Mississippi State. They're taking shots. They weren't able to complete a bunch of them, but next week's going to be a little test there. But what do y'all think?
I didn't get to watch much football either. I watched it on ESPN, the scores, but, that was pretty much it. I decided to partake in the fair today and go get rained on. And speaking of that, look, I got me a pack of Hall's cough drops now, man. My throat's getting sore, but I don't know, man. We got to see Vandy take down LSU, though.
Yeah. So I guess it's up to me, man.
It's up to you, Nash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I did watch some college football, so I can give some commentary on this. Diogo Pavia, what a game versus LSU. LSU's defense did not. I believe they were missing. What was it? Weeks they were missing.
The linebacker.
Man, did not look good today. Right. I mean, Pavia was like having his way, and then he had some really nice plays. He did have a Heisman moment where he did strike a Heisman pose. So maybe Pavia's cooking up a Heisman.
I mean, he could be a high. If you're thinking literally of like a most valuable player to their team, there isn't a more valuable player than what Pavia has been able to do for Vanderbilt, just even culturally,
And hypothetically, like if he comes in and beats Texas and they keep on winning games, he's absolutely in the Heisman race.
But I'm not talking about him. I was going to say, I'm not talking about him like, last year was like, oh, that's really cute. He tries hard and everybody would compliment him. I was like, I'm not complimenting him like that anymore, man. He's not an underdog. Like, he's a legitimate, threat now. So enough with the Pavia, like, oh, isn't that cute what he can do? It's like, until he does it to your team, man. So I did catch the second half of that, running around, spinning around. He's going to be a test for Texas, and their numbers are really, really good.
Yeah, and then you also had Georgia Tech and Duke. They were tied up into the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter, Georgia Tech runs away with it. So, I mean, it was kind of an interesting day of college football. Oklahoma, they absolutely just whooped up on South Carolina.
Yeah.
All the narratives about the pissed off game for South Carolina, and they're going to steal one. That didn't really work for them, but it's been a fun game of college football so far. Really close games.
We need OU to win. We need to keep pumping up our strength of schedule so we're in a weird spot where it's like you hope they win every other game. All right, let's talk about our game, though. First things first, what we want to see, and by we, I mean me. I made the graphic, but we will discuss what we want to see. So with Kentucky, the first thing is drive the field consistently. This is a little bit of a hangover from OU. Seeing that we're able to do that is really, really positive. Let's see if that continues. Good teams can do that, but also Kentucky allows you to do that. They play back very often, and they say, hey, do 12, 14 yards. So we saw OU, it worked. Every other game, it didn't work. So I want to see that again. Is there anything you guys think about that? No duh. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, defense versus Oklahoma, that's obviously a different level than Kentucky. So it would be nice to see like early down success and consistency, not being driven back in like to second and long. Because I mean, if we can get to where we're third and short, that's where Steve Sarkisian, he's comfortable taking 3 yards and then going for it on 4th and 2.
Yeah. True that. I thought we converted a lot of third and longs against Oklahoma. I don't want to be in that. I'm glad we did it, but but it was good to see us do it. But I don't want. It's not a recipe for success, right? So I don't know. I think Kentucky probably be juiced up early on. So we getting some third and longs, man. I think it can kind of give them some momentum early. I don't want those guys to hang around, right? So we don't need to give them anything. Let's control the game, let's control the line of scrimmage, and be ahead of the sticks all day.
Yeah, they're coming off the bye, and you see them drag teams into the mud. It was a little bit reminiscent of Michigan last year, where we were in a ton of third and longs, but we were just completing them. But that's not a game you want to play week in and week out. Keeping Arch clean. So that's just a big thing for the offensive line. Some of the fans were like, offensive line, that looks solved after OU. It's like not solved at all. We were getting the ball out quickly. We still gave up, I can't remember, 16 or 18 pressures, even with a 4.2 ADOT. The offensive line is absolutely not solved. But we do need to either keep playing that play style or see if we improve. That's going to be a big factor. Now, if we execute a bunch, then you won't necessarily need to time it up. But if you get behind the sticks, or as you'll see in my next point, land your time shots because you can hit explosives, just time them well. But that's going to be a big, big factor here for Arch. I just need to see that going forward with the offensive line. Clearly, Arch was dealing with some being banged up last week from some of his comments after the Florida game. We just can't continue to make Arch play that hard like he did in the Florida game. What do y'all think?
I mean, I was going to say, I mean, like, you heard some like Brooks Austin. He's kind of almost like hinting at it, like, this backup quarterback's throwing a seed. When he comes in there, and it's like, okay, well, you know what? Hey, if we don't keep Arch clean, some of y'all fans that were getting out of pocket and saying, I want to see what Caldwell looks like. You might end up seeing what Caldwell looks like if we can't keep him clean.
Man, no, we got to keep him clean. I don't know what Kentucky really posed much of a pass rush threat. But neither did Florida, right? And so it's like, man, where this come from? Like, they couldn't get to the quarterback before they played us. So I hope Kentucky doesn't find their mojo, whatever it is, to get to the quarterback. We definitely got to keep him clean. I think we can do that by we can stay balanced with the run game, and we can hit some play action stuff and have time to throw maybe, but we'll see. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Their QB sack rate is 99th in the country. So this is something that I'm expecting to see. And if we don't see it, then, that's the nerve-wracking aspect.
We did say that about Florida. I mean, even Sark, like, this one thing that like grabbed my attention. Steve Sarkisian will never talk bad about defense, like going into a game. And even he felt comfortable saying, yeah, they don't really sack the quarterback that much. They're designed to not really get pressure on. Like, they're more of a contained defensive line. No, they got to us.
Yeah. We want to see that Nick Brooks growth too. Did the game get pushed back? It got pushed back to like 6:15, right? But did they change the channel? I do not know that yet. We're waiting on those updates. Over at Inside Texas, we'll do it. Because basically Arkansas A&M got pushed back a couple hours, and that screwed with stuff. So my guess is either get bumped to streaming or like one of the secondary ESPNs, but I'm not sure even at this moment exactly what channel the game is going to be on. So if someone figures it out, let me know. So execute down the field, but they do give up some explosives every now and again. Not something like super crazy, but they're 78th in the country in defensive passing explosivity. So it should be there. I want to see the melding of Florida Arch combined with Oklahoma Arch. I want to see if we can get both of those going, a quarterback that can execute and then hit the shot when it counts. Now you're cooking with gas. So that's my big thing. And with a defensive pass rush that has no history, I say history, but we don't know, of sacking a lot of quarterbacks, you should be able to drive the field and then here you go, Wingo, every now and again.
You know what? I'm with you. And then I said we're playing Stoops, so we might get the famous Stoops Tampa too, because they all love to run it and try to keep everything in front of them. I know they got a free safety who's kind of rangy. He can play hash to hash, and they have a big corner. I think he's like 6'3". I'm not sure if he travels. I can't think of his name, but I mean, he's pretty good too. So I don't know. I think he'd be physical with our guys up front and throw the timing off, right? I think Arch may have to scramble and find somebody versus unless we can run the ball. I don't think the deep shots will be there because Stoops is known. All Stoops are known for playing Tampa too, pretty much, and keep everything in front of them.
And they do but there's like 4 or 5 times a game where you can hit it, right? And so that's what I mean by timed. This is not going to be a bombs away thing. They're going to be execute, and they're going to stay off of you. But when it is there, hit it, right? And if it doesn't show up, then I'm not going to grade you negatively if it's not there. Sure. But when it is there, hit it, right?
I mean, this feels like it ties right into point number 1 that we had. Like, we got to drive the field consistently. We got to you got to have long, sustained drives, and then basically just whip this Kentucky team, make them too tired, and then when those shots are there, hit those shots, and then that's where you see the game. Because like Steve Sarkisian, he's never going to be a guy that's just going to lay it on or try and pour gasoline onto the fire at the end of the game. If he has a 3-score lead, he's just going to sit there and run the football. Yeah. And as long as we sustain the drives, I mean, we'll run at the clock. But yeah, so landing those time shots is going to be huge.
And you still have to. That's why, because when you have a drive the field team, you have to be able to execute in the red zone.
Yeah.
They're going to let you into the red zone. But what do? So the Texas offense right now in touchdown only red zone is 90th in the country. Their defense is 90th. So you have 90 versus 90 red zone offense versus defense. So what's going to give here, right? And so that's a big factor for me. Because say you do, and Sark's problem has never been driving the field,
right.
like getting between 20s, never been a problem. Our quality drive rate is always awesome. It's finishing. And so they're going to let you get there. And they're not a great defense there, but something's got to give, right? So that's what I want to see is once you get there, do you score? Without having to, you don't want to run Arch a lot.
No.
You know, this is not a game where you want to put your quarterback at risk. Save him for Georgia and stuff like that. So can we just execute with normal quarterback passing, keep him clean on his own read, but I don't want Arch battling too much physically this game.
Nah, I definitely don't. I thought people were going to start to pick there and take their shots versus Arch too. Like, you want to run? Okay, I'm going to kind of make you pay for it. Like, it's talked about. Everybody knows it. So, if he runs the ball, punish him. I'm sure that's the message in the defensive side of the room for any team. So you got to make him pay for it. No matter what, you take enough shots, man. You don't have the legs to keep throwing the ball, right? You're going to be looking for the rush or looking to get hit each and every time. So I don't want to have to use them if we don't have to. But in the red zone, I feel like, man, unless Trey Wiseman just is a machine again today, who's his partner in crime, to run the football? We may have to use Arch some kind of way in the red zone. I don't want to, but, we may have to.
Do I expect to see more Mosley or Livingston? Man, these receivers are weird. I never know what I'm going to see week in and week out. Sometimes it's shots. Then it was the OU game where they're doing it. Somebody shows up. I have no idea. I would expect Livingston because that's Arch's road dog, though.
Well, and also, too, Mosley didn't really have the best of games this last game versus Oklahoma. I mean, he was missing some blocks. Obviously, he had that one drop that led to Livingston having that, massive third down catch for Texas. So,
yeah.
I mean,
was that the one where he's on the left side of the field and he's reaching and Guillory gets it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a drop in the all 22.
Well, not drop. I shouldn't have said drop, but I mean, still, that is a ball that you ideally, if you're Mosley, you want to come down with that and catch that. You want to have the strong, because I mean, he has the strong hands to do it. Like I've seen it on the tape. So, and then also when the blocking, that's one of the things that he's the best at, like his downfield blocking. I mean, that he had that Twitter clip where he was driving that dude 15 yards out of bounds. If we see a lot of Mosley, I think that means he's had a really good practice. He's had a really good week in practice, and he's given the coaches a lot of confidence.
If you see a lot of Livingston, it means we're a lot of 3rd and 10s. That's who Arch always goes to his side, always looks for him. So that's also the thing with Livingston is normally you're behind the sticks. And so that's kind of the big factor. Avoid injuries even in the win. Don't get Arch hit. This is not the game you want to deal with that. Now, what's interesting for a team that sits back a lot, they're 22nd in interceptions per game, which is weird. And Paul phrased it best. They'll give you a curl at 10 yards, and then you'll go, okay, let's see if we can throw that curl at 12 yards. And they'll give you the curl at 12 yards. And then you're like, maybe we get the curl at 14 yards. And then they jump it, and then interception.
Yep.
And then also, too, if they're doing a bunch of Tampa stuff over the middle, then you can just do that. So the big thing is hey, drive the field, hit your shots when it's there, but also they're pretty good at getting interceptions. So you're going to have to also be pretty sound. Now, luckily, Arch isn't, besides a couple weird ones earlier in the season where he just threw it up, he's not bad about that. So I'm not super worried, but that if you're looking for the recipe, right, for how this game gets wonky is if you can't run, you start throwing too much, and then they do get a couple turnovers there. So that's a big factor. And then there's always a few penalties. The OU game, that start, I thought it was over for us, boys. I thought that was it. And that first drive was horrific. And then they just said no more penalties. So we need to see if that's just how much the refs hate OU for their exploits earlier in the year, or if we figured out something like that. What do you guys think?
Well, there was one. I love I don't know how many people picked it up, but there's the Twitter clip of Steve Sarkisian who's talking to some players as they're going to the locker room. And DJ Campbell, he's like, no personal foul penalties, right? And because they're joking because he had a penalty. He had a personal foul penalty that got wiped off because Oklahoma had one on the same play.
Yeah.
So it was kind of. I just thought that was kind of funny. I mean, so we still do need to get like the penalties were a little bit worse than because I mean let's be honest. I'll stand here and say, hey, we might have gotten away with a block in the back. We might have might have right. I don't care. And I actually, what was hilarious is he did have an Oklahoma fan. I'm sitting there saying like, thank God, like we're finally getting holds called against like opposing defenses. Like, what is this life, right? I've never seen this. And Oklahoma fans like, oh, y'all get these calls all the time. I'm like, no. We literally had entire years where we didn't have an siren.
There's stats where like. Yeah. We're year after year an anomaly for getting these calls, and it's fine for 1 year, but if it happens 3 years straight, it's no longer an anomaly.
While you're also one of the strongest pass rush teams in the nation too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's weird, but I thank God OU did that to the refs earlier in the season on that hideout. The refs are not going to give them a single break the rest of the year. If they don't get the point. You embarrassed them, man. You made them put out a statement, and those guys are the least accountable.
I'd say they embarrassed themselves because they did it versus Georgia too.
Yeah.
And
the refing has been horrific.
Well, I like the ACC. The ACC is really accountable. They like their review process. You're hearing every single thing that they say. The SEC is, hey, we just have this dark cloud of mystery, and screw you.
For no reason.
You might get a statement, and even if you do, it's us just saying, yeah, we know we're wrong. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
There's no consequence. And I know like refs get graded.
Yeah.
But they get graded by themselves. So it's
and
like,
then with the SEC, it's like there's no way to know. Like even if they get a bad grade, or did you dock their pay? There's no public accountability. There's no.
It's supposed to be tied to how big of games you get. Like, being able to ref Alabama, Georgia in the ref world is a big deal, And so it's like you start ending up on these lower tier games, but it's the ACC model of letting you hear. And it's also so much more common. They're like, yeah, I don't think he caught that. And I'm just like, whenever you hear him talk, I was like, I thought they were going to use much more jargon. They're like, no, he dropped it. But I wish the SEC would do that, man.
I'd pay good money for that footage of the conversations when they overturned the Texas interception with Jade Barron. Hey, Jim, I think we messed up. That was a clean interception, man. No pass interference. We need to change that.
I'm surprised.
We don't want to look bad on Twitter, Jim. We don't want to look bad on Twitter.
Yeah, but after we threw the bottles, out of principle, I'd have been like, nope, I'm not overturning it. I'm shocked that they did, man.
I'm surprised they did too.
No, hey, Stark got them. They got them things cleaned off quick, man. Like that was fast. That was a clean off. Like they practiced.
Tech's gonna get fined for throwing the tortillas,
bro. If I'm an opposing fan, I'm straight up. I don't care if I get kicked out of Jones Stadium, right? I'm dressing up in Texas Tech gear and I'm throwing tortillas.
Yeah,
and at the most crucial moment too, like big third down, tortilla on the field, right?
They have the right to vacate parts of the stadium, meaning they could like theoretically kick the student section out. The first time they get a warning. The second time they get 100,000 penalty. And I mean, I get it, right? Like it's tortillas. They're harmless, but you're still encouraging non-socially beneficial fan behavior, And so it's like, it's a little bit weird, but I get it because you can't have Tech that's like our tradition is to break the rules. Like that can't be your tradition, right? And so I see what they're doing. Tech's upset about it. But $100,000 for tortillas. And also the $100,000, that frat boy that threw it, he's not paying it. Nope. So it's just going to come out of Tech. So they're going to end up having to police their own students and all of that. But I did think that was interesting, at least.
Not cool.
We got away with it, though. Right. We're legendary. All right. Before we keep going, though, guys, let's hear a word from Academy.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
All righty. Defensive keys. Number 1, stop the run. They like to run a lot. They are, I think, 38th in the country for rushing plays rate. So they run above average. They have a good back in McGowan, the back that was from OU and then went on the JUCO circuit after his legal stuff. And he looks older than everyone, by the way. Like when you see him, you're like, yeah, that guy looks like he's 25. So he's a good back. He's an aggressive back. One of the better backs we faced this year. So they're going to try to run it a lot. They're just not very explosive, 98th in rushing explosivity. So they don't hit a lot of, 80-yarders, but they do get consistent forward movement. What's interesting about this offense is it's similar to Florida's in philosophy. They don't have the horses, though, right? Like McGowan's good, but it's not Jaden Baugh. And they don't have an outside receiver like Dallas Wilson. So they can't maximize that style offense, but they are a forward, run downhill offense. And we struggled with that in the All-22 with Florida. The Texas defense, if you watch, like if opposing offensive lines take a step back or remain neutral, we absolutely maul guys. But as soon as they step forward, we're a little bit different. And so I just want to see what this Texas defense looks like when they're getting put on the back foot a little bit. And that's why this philosophically is interesting to me, but I need to see the run stop, because if the run is stopped, the Kentucky offense is already bad. There's nowhere for them to go at that point. What do y'all think?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I know like Oklahoma, we did a great job of setting the edge, right? And Florida, we lost contain so many times. I'd be interested to see what Kentucky does. If they run like a gap scheme where they're firing off the ball, double teaming, getting where the linebackers can't get off and make a play, and they have a shot, you know what I'm saying, to kind of gash us a few times. It's going to put Michael Taft in there, all those boys in the secondary to force them to come up and make tackles. But I don't know if Kentucky's offensive line can get a push. We'll see if they can or not, but I feel like they're going to actually attack vertically and get up the field versus us versus stepping back or sideways. Because if you do that versus us, you have no chance. I think you have to go power against Colin Simmons, against Ethan Burke. Like you got to go at those guys and not let them attack you. I think that's your only shot. Maybe Kentucky does that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think this defense has to have an attack-oriented mindset too. Like you look at like to what you said, Connor. I mean, they're 112th going into this week. They're 112th in the nation in 10+ yard rushing plays. So it's not even the 20+ yard rushing plays. It's like they are firmly just going to try and grind you down to death. And I think that this is kind of like almost like a gang tackling game, right? Like we need multiple hats on the football. If you're Colin Simmons, we cannot have you having your arms on the guy, wrapping up in the backfield, and then letting that guy go, right? Like that's just like. You're one of the big dogs on the team. You gotta go and finish off these tackles. Like I mean, Jaden Baugh, the first drive, he made Leon Galafal, Colin Simmons, and Michael Taft miss tackles. Right? Like I mean, when a guy does that to your defense, that's just kind of like that's a gut punch right there, because those are three of your best tacklers on the team, and it's just one of these deals where hey, we got to be better. But I think that I would say going into this game, I'm probably really confident, given what Jaden Baugh did to this defense, because if you go and look at what the defense did in the second half versus Florida, we really went out there and shut down the run. And then I know Oklahoma's not nearly a rush to even start bragging about shutting down, but we shut them down completely too. So I'm really confident to see that we're going to carry this over, because I mean, I have a lot of confidence in Pete Kwiatkowski to get a defense to go out there and, play a really tough brand of football that we've been, accustomed to seeing over the last couple of years.
And an offensive line, so I think they're third in college football for combined starts together. So they're a very mature offensive line. They have senior, graduate, senior, junior, graduate. So, and they're all, the smallest guy is a right tackle at 311 pounds. So they're big, they're older, and they've played a lot together. Yeah. And so that's a factor too, right? Their cohesiveness. So that's what I want to see when I mean stop the run. Because also you'll see later, if you stop the run, it's over, right? They're not going to be able to ball control. They're not going to be able to drag you into the mud like that. Historically, some weird stuff happens versus Texas. So that's the big factor. They want to do what Florida does. They just don't have the players that Florida does. But they do have the offensive line theoretically that we need to check out. We need to get sacks. They're 101st in the country in sack rate. They get sacked a bunch.
Yeesh.
They don't pass a bunch, but when they do pass, they get sacked a bunch. So you're not going to see, they're not going to sling it all over the yard. That's not their game. They're going to throw a lot of these screens to Kendrick Law, if y'all remember him at Alabama. Mm-hmm. Kendrick Law, fast player. So a ton of screen stuff. Paul pointed out astutely, when they're spread out, they're generally spread out to run screens. That's their big thing. So they're quick hitter screens, run the ball, And then occasionally they'll let Boley try to take a shot, and you'll see later who he tries to take shots to when I say keep eyes on the tight ends. But get those sacks. They won't be, you're not going to have 100 opportunities. You might have 10 or 15. Get a couple. And then Cutter Boley, who we saw second half last year, who made some plays against us, and to me is like Sawyer Robertson a couple years ago, where all the tools are there, big athletic, good arm, all that stuff, just young, kind of not ready. Give him a little while. But he leads the SEC right now with a 6% turnover-worthy play rate. So get sacks and get picks if you can.
Yeah. Turnover definitely helping a game like this, especially being on the road. I hear everybody talk about Kroger Field in Kentucky. I saw one game where they were fired up versus Georgia, 2 years ago. But I feel like you can if you can get the crowd out the game, then I think we'd be all right. You know what I mean? I think, but you let that crowd pile up on you and get them a shot, man. I think it won't matter how Boley's playing, man. We gotta get some turnovers to take the crowd out the game early.
Yeah, man. They're drunk on bourbon coming from horse races. It's gonna be problematic. We can't deal with that at Kroger Field, right? It's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like a good game for Anthony Hill to get his first sack in.
Yeah. The problem is you have so many pass rushers. It's like you're like, well, we need to get Brad Spinson to get.
Well, I mean, but Anthony Hill's been rushing the passer. Like, it's not a deal where Anthony Hill's been dropping back into coverage. Like, he's actually rushed more than he did last year.
No, I didn't even know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So last year through seven games he had 14.4% rush percentage. This year it's 21.7.
Wow. I wonder if they're just keying in on him more.
Probably. I think a little bit of it too might be like, I wonder if they're counting Spies as a pass rush. I'm not. I wouldn't think so, but I'm just wondering if they're doing that.
Yeah. And then I have handled the physicality. It's still kind of a part of stop the run, right? But with a forward team, does Texas fight well on the back foot? That's the big thing. And then keep eyes on tight ends. So what they'll do is they're going to drag you down. It's going to be a lot of runs, a lot of screens. They're going to bring you down. They're going to bring you down. You're going to be in man. You're going to be in 8-man boxes. And then they're going to have the tight ends lined up in heavy, Willie Rodriguez and Josh Caddis, I believe. So they're going to have them in 12. They're going to be either in line or, at H-back. And then a couple times a game, they're just going to do a Sark special. They're going to leak them out while everyone's focused. And then that's how they get their explosives. It's more deception-based, tied to the run game. And so over the middle, pay attention to that. Now, of course, if it's Jelani McDonald on them, we have guys that can cover these guys. It's not about a total mismatch. Even though their tight ends are pretty good, it's not a mismatch thing. It's a getting lazy and not paying attention thing. And so that's going to be the big thing for me. If they do get a few explosives, it would be there. I wonder if they did a buy. I don't know why. I'd be like, man, let's throw it a little bit. Let's try to do something weird for Texas,
I was just about to say, you think they can attack the seams more, knowing that, even against OU, looking at it, they had the seams. They were attacking the seams. It was open a little bit. You know what I mean? Can Boley, can Kentucky say, you know what, we're going to attack the seams with both tight ends, and especially on play action, to get them to bite down, and then it may be there. I don't know, but maybe they worked on that during the bye week, because that's where I would attack the flats and the seams.
Well, yeah, exactly. So people haven't done a good job of doing it, but attack the seams versus Texas, because we're a cover 3 single high defense. So just the weakness of that defense naturally is going to be the seams. But also, we're still not great at the perimeter. That John Mateer run where Burt got the hold, thank God, that's awesome. Pay attention, it's 3rd and 2. They got to have it. What do they go with? They go with a perimeter run.
Yeah.
And then in the defensive film studies, we've shown each week I'm talking G5s. We're doing this to us. We have a problem where we will get a little over aggressive and we'll collapse in. And Florida, of course, exploited it really bad. We are weak on perimeter runs, and then you can hit us over the seams. No one's had the personnel or the game plan to really exploit it. But if I was attacking the Texas defense, that's how I would do it. So I'm more aware of quick outside receivers and quick running backs getting to the edge, and then some seams. I think that's what you would want to test most importantly with Texas. So shout out Jet Bush. Week 1, when we did a defensive film study, he was like, we're going to see this all year. And I was like, how does he know that from watching? We're isolating one play, and he just said it's a weakness that we have. And I'll be damned, he was right. every single week. And it doesn't matter if it was Sam Houston or San Jose State, they would boundary run or they would do the perimeter. Yeah. So it's a little tricky when you play a lot of single high man. You end up kind of pushing in. So, are there any things you guys want to see on the defensive side of the ball that I didn't hit?
I don't know. We did a better job open field tackling versus OU. I don't think they had any dynamic, ball carries, but I saw it. I guess I can go back to the Florida game, just like the open field tackles. Like, if you can tackle well, you may give them the short stuff, but just rally and tackle. If we miss a bunch of open field tackles, man, I think that's the only thing I want to see cleaned up, because it's going to matter down the road versus better competition, especially like A&M receivers, Mississippi State receivers, even Georgia's tight end receivers. Like, we got to tackle well in open space. So it's a great game to kind of work on that.
I mean, they only have one player on offense that's 5'11". That's the shortest offensive player. The shortest defensive player is 5'11". They're a big football team. Like, just across the board, a pretty big, especially on defense. So that's going to be interesting for me too, because it still surprised me every week with the SEC. I go to watch some team that's down and out in the SEC, and I'm like, damn, they are big. Like, they have athletes, no matter what. And just a very different thing than our previous conference. So that's a big factor. I think tackling with Kendrick Law is going to be important. They do like to block on the perimeter. They block all right. So a lot of this game will be corners and nickels and safeties not getting blocked by lead screens and tackling Kendrick Law. Because the worst thing that can happen is Kendrick Law gets a couple cheap ones. That's where you end up in kind of a dogfight. But there's not a lot of avenues for them on their offense, truly, as long as you can stop that run for them to be effective.
Yeah.
Famous last words, but yeah.
Knock on some wood, brother.
Knock on wood. So it's an interesting game for some of their schematics, but Texas, I don't know if they still are, but 12 points favorites is fair. But you know what they did to Ole Miss. You've seen them do it with Georgia. They pick their spots once or twice a year, and it's normally against a higher ranking team. Texas is not a real higher ranking team this year, but maybe I should say a more talented football team, and they kind of figure it out. Anything for special teams? I haven't even thought about it, but is there anything?
Man. We get some more special teams. Magic, I don't know. I was so worried they were going to throw the block in the back. It would have been on Warren Robinson too. And I was like, oh man, not again. That's like his call, and like he has to get a flag on great returns. It seems like all the time. So,
well, we had like 3 on that play.
Yeah. He was the first one. I thought they were going to call because he was closest to the him catching the ball, but I don't mind Ryan Nibbler flipping the field. I want to see another great return, man. If we can get something on kickoff, that'd be special too. But yeah, just no penalties on special teams, man. Don't set us back.
I love a good Jack Baumeister punt, right? Love a good 60-yard punt. But I don't want to see the field goal unit out there outside for extra points. I don't want to see the punting unit out there. The only time I want to see any sort of punting unit out there is for, like you said, Ryan Niblett punt return. And if we do go after him, if you hit the damn ball before you hit the punter, please. That's all I ask.
You're talking about an aggressive style. So with an offense that's still pretty sketchy, you know me, I'm hyper aggressive. Like, I like going for fourth. I mean, I'll go for fourth downs on our side of the field if it makes sense. But it's with this team, I've relented a little bit because the defense normally does such a good job, and we suck in the red zone for years. I've kind of just like gone in, because Sark will get you into field goal range consistently. To me, I've gotten more the winning games like 23-10 feel okay to me this year, when really I would have been mad about that in any other previous years.
Look, man, I just, when it comes to getting the ball and moving the ball down the field, I hate that this is how it's been, but like, when we get into the red zone, I start to lose confidence. the closer we get, closer we get to the goal line, the more confidence I lose in our ability to go and punch the ball in.
Yeah. And
then also because I know if we're going to get close enough where Steve Sark is we're going to go for a fourth goal from the 3. We're not going to get any field goal points. We're going to turn the ball over on the goal line, right? Like, I mean, I was just looking at it earlier. I want to look and see what the actual red zone stats are. We're talking about like from the 10-yard line in, we're in the bottom 4th of the SEC for both passing and rushing as a team. So, and this is yards per play. So it's just, it's one of these deals where, man, like we're not good in short area, right? And like if you remember the Livingston got tackled right before the end zone. I was like, oh crap! Like
exactly.
My immediate thought was, oh crap,
Mhm.
we're down before we got in the end zone, and then it was like, oh shit, is Livingston is he hurt? Like I didn't even jump to is he hurt yet? I was like immediately, oh, we're screwed.
When we hit explosives and don't score, same thing. Like get tackled on the 5, I'm like, no. Like that was.
We were that close.
Yeah, and so
I'm already checked out to deep. I'm like, okay, Pete Kwiatkowski, get the defense ready, brother.
Yeah.
Was that touchdown to Moore? Is that in red zone versus OU? Were we in the red zone? We scored that on the busted coverage.
I think we were.
Yeah.
I think we were. Look, praise be, man. Those don't come often.
That's a little nerve-wracking, right? Because, and no, don't get me wrong, OU has a good defense. But our only touchdown we did score, they busted the play. And if you watch the All-22, it's not even close. Like, they motion Wisner out and the linebacker and the nickel or whoever, they don't communicate at all. And Moore just runs right between them and he sticks his hand up.
Yeah.
So that's also, like, realistically, we probably don't score a touchdown at all that game if they don't bust the coverage. And so that's something where, like, it took a little bit of the sweetness out of that whenever I was going back and really watching it, that I was like, yeah, we still not really solved.
As far as like a busted coverage, like Steve Sarkisian said, like Moore just completely freestyled on that route too. So
no, like, it wasn't you got to have somebody on him.
Yeah,
there was no one on him, and so literally he freestyled by running forward. Yeah. Like it wasn't like he did some weird move. He just ran forward. They didn't communicate. Yeah. So it's not like it was that profound, And so that's kind of the trick. We do not know what channel it'll be on yet. I'll see. Charlie, if you can text the group chat and ask the guys if they know yet.
Yeah.
That would be ideal.
I'm checking ESPN PR and all that stuff. I haven't seen anything.
Stephen Julian asked, why not try Nick Townsend at running back? So I do just want to talk running back, and then we'll talk about that concept. So Gibson leaving. What did y'all think about that?
I don't know, man. Writing was on the wall, I guess. I don't know, man. He got in versus OU one time and then trying to turn outside zone into a sweep or a toss. Other that, he didn't see the field again. He kind of saw it coming, man. He didn't play much. He didn't play all versus Florida, right?
I just didn't see it coming in the middle of the season.
That part, but
yeah.
I mean, hey, I don't know. Emotions get the best of the kids. Sometimes they're young, like, I'm out of here versus waiting it out. Maybe he didn't want to play another snap and waste a year, so he had no choice but to sit out because, he would have been forced to play if something happens to Trey or somebody else. Like, oh, now y'all need me. You know what I mean? You never know how kids are thinking, man. So maybe it's like, I'm out. Take my ball and go home.
I do like the idea of not keep, because I feel like some coaches would just be like, okay, we're just going to sit you on the side, right? And then set you to the side, and then we'll let you transfer at the end of the year and you get your red shirt, right? But you're still on the team. Like I like the idea of get out of my locker room, right? And not say hey, we're kicking you out, because if you want to be on the team and you want to stick with it and you want to play games and be available, we're happy to have you here, right? We're happy to keep you, but at the same time, I mean, it's like the locker room's a very, very special dynamic, and you don't want to have guys that have their foot out the door inside the locker room.
Yeah,
that's just not the culture that you want. So it's like, hey, you're either with the program and you're with your guys, you're with us, or you're just out. And it's that simple. Like, there's no one or the other. There's no flipping flopping.
Well, they wanted, the weird part about Gibson, it'd be different if they didn't try to give you opportunities. Players can get disgruntled, but in spring ball, I mean, Eric reported they thought Gibson was going to be their number one back. That's who they wanted to be their number one. And so they gave him tons of shots in the spring. They literally were rooting for him to become the top running back. And then same thing this season, he would fumble in games. There was one practice where they were like, all right, Gibson, we're about to give you the rock a lot. Show us what you got. And he fumbled again in practice. And so it's not like they didn't like him or didn't want him to be a big feature. They desperately did. But for whatever reason, he can't hold on to the football. I've never heard any personality issues, our behavior issues. It's literally just he fumbles all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's one of these deals where like you look at like Bijan Robinson. I don't think people realize because they just think Bijan Robinson star, right? Bijan Robinson fumbled the ball a lot, but you know what? It was easy to ignore. It's easy to ignore the fumbles when, I mean, fumbled the ball every 60 snaps is not like that. That's a really high rate. So, but it's easy to ignore when you're running the ball for 6 yards per carry and you're able to catch and run routes.
1,000%.
Right? Yeah, we all forgave him after the Texas Tech game.
Because he's not a net loss. Even with fumbles, he's a net positive. Gibson was never a net positive. And so he was always a net loss. And so that's where it's like, look, man, if you fumble a little bit, and also Bijan was doing like the Lord's work. Like, dude, if you fumble doing a backflip, you know, and like all of this stuff, it's like, yeah, I can get it. He's doing moves we've never even seen before. We're just fumbling like that, dude. First off, that run the other day, too. He's gotten faster, man. He's looking good.
He is.
He's that run was prime example of speed training is worth every last little penny you pay.
He was
a speed trainer.
I get jealous whenever I watch like the Atlanta Falcons. They're doing that little promo for him, and they're like, "Man, he's really special. Let me tell you about Bijan." I'm like, "No, let me tell you about Bijan." Like, I feel I got to get protective. I'm like, "Yeah, he can do that." Because it was, you know, we were following him when he was in high school, so it's always funny.
I still like. I'm thinking back to that. His butt touching his helmet.
I don't know.
And then and then he's just like, I remember when when it was like, okay, yeah, he's perfectly fine. I was like, you know what? This right here is what, like, there are just humans that can do things that other people can't.
The pliability to
literally Robinson is one of those people.
Dude, that would sever almost anyone's spine. And
99.9% of people would be like, that would be the last semi-athletic activity that they ever do. And Bijan Robinson, he's out there, like he's still out there doing jukes and crap. Like,
he just hops up like that was. Weird.
I mean, like Bijan Robinson, I'm so upset that we never like won anything of significance with him because he was so good. But like,
he's such a good person too, man.
Exactly. Like he's out here, dude. He's literally like out here leading Bible studies in the off season, like going he's one of the best. Like if I had a kid, man, and my kid's sitting there with Bijan Robinson posted on the wall, I'm like, I'm thrilled.
And it's not fake.
All that, dude.
Mm-mm.
It's not fake. It's genuine. You know, there's always that corny guy that like tries to wield being the nice guy. He legitimately is it. And if you ever met his family, they used to travel deep to home games. They'd have their shirt.
I met his
whole
grandma.
family's great.
They're the nicest people in the world. Yeah. His grandpa, like the guy that got him into football. Yeah. I got to talk with him, dude. Like they are literally. It's easy to see why, like how he grew up to be like the person that he was, because you're like, okay, yeah, like these are some really, really nice people. Like they're the type of people that if you're walking on the street, you know, cold and rainy, they'd invite you in for some soup and get you some blankets on you.
Yeah. For a second, I thought you said soup in a DVD. I was like, all right. I don't know what culture that's from.
Warm me up,
we get a DVD, but all right, before we keep going though, guys, check this out. Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets Texas ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find grills, canopies, jerseys, and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour at undefeatable prices every single day. Fun can't lose, and neither can you with tailgate gear from Academy. Academy Sports and Outdoors is the official sporting goods and outdoor retailer of the SEC.
Academy carries my favorite seeds, man. My smacking seeds. I love them.
Are those the ones with the little half zip bags?
Yes. So you can reseal. Yeah, you can pour them out and reseal them.
Yeah, I bought one of those, and like an idiot, like a gorilla, I just ripped it and destroyed the seal anyway. So I was like, all right, I'm just not very intelligent. I'm not smart enough for these seeds.
They're lower in sodium, so I like it. Doesn't leave sandpaper, but you can get them at Academy. So
check them out. All right. So, but with Gibson leaving, Eric, broke the news that Michael Terry was getting reps at practice. He's an intriguing athlete just in general, right? And then, of course, you had Niblett, who's been I think he played quarterback. I think he played defensive tackle as well. But now he's moving into running back room. So we'll try to figure out some depth there. It's not great because our starters keep coming in and out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Baxter's still out. I mean, Nash will pull a stat eventually, but how many games has Baxter played in 3 years? It's got to be under 5, right?
Seems like it, right? Yeah.
And so
it's
those guys coming in and out of the lineup. So you're in a tricky spot because we all know James Simon, probably your back of the future, but is he there yet? If Trey gets hurt, then you're in a weird spot. Michael Terry is intriguing, but he's not like game ready.
Right.
You know, he's like new to the position. So it's the running back room hasn't been great. Like I said, all of our backs are still currently negative EPA runners, meaning that they're a net loss. Anytime our running backs touch the ball, we are more likely to lose. So we have to figure out what we're going to do there. But the worst thing that can happen is you get hurt on top of a room that's already struggling. Maybe Trey keeps it going. You saw what he did with the outside zone. But we've seen that, you know. We'll have a really great game with the back, and then they disappear for 3 or 4 games. Really great game, disappear 3 or 4. So that's going to be the big factor.
You know, one thing you mentioned we kind of talked about is, like, I don't know what it is about OU and A&M. All the slants and stunts, outside zone just kills them. Nobody else plays us that way, right? And so OU and OU and A&M probably give us outside zone, but nobody else really gives us that. So
Right.
we might have to go back and find something else that works. I don't feel like Kentucky or anybody else would give us that outside zone that kind of got us going versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, it would, and you know, I don't expect fans to study it or really understand the intricacies of outside zone, right? I didn't years ago. That's why we had success in the run game. It was a scheme dependent thing, and Trey ran his ass off. Like, don't get me wrong, but that's why that success was there. And so can we do that when the scheme doesn't allow for that? You're not facing those aggressive penetrator type of defenses. Or if they're a lighter front, right? Like Arizona State, they're like, we can move with outside zone. You're not going to reach me or whatever on outside zone. I'm faster than you. I'm smaller than you. So that's a big factor. Michael, my business, 539 carries and 5 fumbles according to stats. What are you referencing?
Gibson.
Oh, Gibson.
Yeah, no, but Baxter, he's played 3 games in the last 2 years. He played a lot in the 2023 season.
Okay.
But the problem was you have games like Rice where he's injured 5 carries into the game. Then he goes in Alabama, he's injured early in the game. I think Baylor, he got he's a walking injury. He's a walking injury tent guy. And it sucks because I mean, like he's a he's a talent and he's a good kid, you know, like he's a talented guy, but I mean, one of the best qualities of being a football player is availability.
1,000.
Right. And if you're not available, I mean, you're just like that. That's one of the best abilities. So, I mean, it's
the
harsh, right? But
harsh reality is NIL too. You know, you're eating this.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a new problem, new world problem.
You're eating a good amount of cap and you're not on the field. You know, if I can get 2 running backs for your price and they're on the field, then hey, you know, and so it's like that's where it's also tricky because it's not just, you know, it used to be if they got hurt, it's like I get it, man. They're basically giving their services away for free minus scholarship, but that's not the case anymore. So it's kind of changed the calculus there. When I don't see you on the field and you know you're being paid to be on the field, that's where it gets a little tricky for me. I wouldn't mind seeing Terry in backfield, but getting screen passes and RB leak out plays to see his playmaking ability. I had a clip. I don't know if we posted it, but because Texas like monitors how long of clips you can put out from spring practices. So I'll get a bunch of clips. I'll get like 10 minutes worth of footage and you can only use like a minute 30 of it. But I can't remember if we put it out, but Michael Terry caught a seam as a slot receiver and he can move. Like I had no clue. I knew he's a big athlete, but he could absolutely move. So he's one of those players that are intriguing. I just don't know how much you could even see him. And then, you know, Jose, if you put him on the field and he's that limited, like he's the screen back, then they're just going to defend the screen, you know?
Exactly.
So that's
the only way we get to see Terry is if we're ahead. Like we got to be in a comfortable lead where we're seeing Terry, because I know like there was the reports about, hey, he's getting meaningful carries in practice and all that stuff. In my personal opinion, that's purely because, hey, if we got 3 running backs that go down, man, like we need you to have practiced something right now, right? Like some meaningful, like against like not just scout team defense, right? So it's one of those deals where I don't necessarily think that we're going to see him much unless we're out there like with a 21 point lead or something like that. Like we got to have a comfortable lead late in the game to be
used to reading. Backs, like you can tell, like they'll have their acceleration, their burst, their wow factor early. They can walk on campus with that. But when they really activate is when they learn to read. And so it's like you have to know what holes to hit, especially for an outside zone team, right? You're reading several gaps. It's not a gap run game where you kind of follow this guy, right? So it's not just, even if he was a super special athlete, he could be a special athlete that run straight into the back of an offensive lineman. So it's like you also just need reps understanding how the flow works. And he played in high school, so it's not like he's brand new. He did some kind of Wildcat quarterback stuff, but it's different in college.
I was just about to say, unless Sark just wants to like get his feet wet and run some Wildcat, just let him get his feet wet and run like that. I don't know. Just throw him out there and see what he can do. Even if it's not a blowout, just like, hey, you know what? 3rd down, here goes Wildcat. Direct snap to Michael Terry. Just see what he can do. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we saw him do with Nibbler. He did it with Savion Red. Why not?
Man.
Well, and if all football was who has the best athletes, right? The guys running 4.2s in the NFL Combine, they'd be getting drafted first round every single time, right? You wouldn't there'd be no point to drafting a guy that can run a 4.5, but hey, his vision makes up for whatever lack of speed that he has because he's in the right hole at the right time. I think a great example of that is you look at like a guy like Jalen Warren, who we saw at Oklahoma State a few years back. He was a transfer running back that came in, was really, really good, and he might have not been the best athlete on the football field, but you look at him right now, he's running back 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, having a pretty good career right now. So, I mean, good vision will replace plenty of athleticism.
So you put an aggressive football player like Nick Townsend in the backfield.
Oh, I love me some Nick Townsend, man.
I love Nick Townsend as a fullback.
Yes.
You know, like
they used him against San Jose State, and like I remember, I tweeted out, I was like, "There's your answer to the goal line problems." Like I want a guy that's running out there like I love that Nick Townsend is wanting to deliver as much pain as possible on the offensive side of the ball.
And in the era of tight ends being soft receivers, generally, he's a breath of fresh air for me because he's also a great receiver. Like Nick Townsend's going to be a baller. Like he's an NFL player.
With Winston too. Like
the future of the tight end room is great. Yeah.
Yeah, we're loaded.
But he's down to hit, and like we haven't really had that at Texas. Like all of them were just 6'6" slot receivers, and so that's that. I do love what Townsend has done, and it's like it screams on the tape. It catches your eyes. The coaches see it, and so yeah, to have a player that's that gung ho, who really is a legitimate receiver, that's willing to be a full tight end. That's like my pet peeve. Like don't give me a tight end that can't block. That's not a tight end. What are we doing? And Nick Townsend is breaking that mold.
And I've seen multiple plays too where we have tight ends that like almost like they're waiting for work to come to them, right? Yeah. Townsend is not that guy. Like he's running to you, man. He
may be the wrong guy, but he's gonna hit somebody in another area.
He'll make eye contact 10 yards away and have a he's you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of George Kittle, right? Like he's the type of tight end that I could see like delivering a huge hit and just sitting there giggling to himself on the sideline or something like that.
He's going to be an absolute baller. A&M getting moved off ESPN. Oh, they're getting moved off ESPN, huh? It's prime little bro energy.
Oh, and they're kind of already dogging.
Seriously, can you imagine giving the ball to Justice Terry up the middle on the goal line? You might have to get cute, like with where we're at, man. Like you might have to get cute,
dude. We and this is also a problem that's been dating back to last year. I can think back to Florida where we had the ball on our end of the field on like the 30-yard line. We're at 4th and 2, and instead of running the ball up the middle, we do a cute little side sweep thing with Jarrett Gibson, right? A little highlight to Jarrett Gibson, but it's like to me, I'm like the fact that we couldn't just sit there and go smash mouth in front, like say, hey, we're gonna pick up these 2 yards.
Yeah,
that's a problem to me, but.
Yeah, and you'd think with quarterback run with Arch, but it's just we're just for whatever reason our plays don't work there.
That's not.
We're just powerless, so that's gonna be a big factor. So, do we know it's official on ESPN News, Coach?
That's what was reported, but now it seems like I don't know. I see it coming up on ESPN, but
yeah, I haven't seen anything saying it's coming off. So,
and the game's not starting until 6:15, right?
It's still showing 6 p.m.
Is it?
You're still
Well,
showing.
We're good anyways, boys. We can go ahead and hop on off. Get ready. Don't get dragged into a weird game, guys.
Georgia Ole Miss at the end here.
What? So yeah, no predictions, none of that. Don't get dragged into a weird game. Win consistently. That's the big factor for me. You guys need to go join InsideText.com for just $1 single. And this was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Now, everyone, rush around, figure out what channel it's on because I'm about to have to do the same. See you guys for the post game. As soon as the game ends, we will be on the channel. Come hang out with us. Looking forward to it. Goodbye, everyone.